The Women and Men Against Abuse are friends of the court. They will provide additional information, and we're joined by Women and Men Against Child Abusers, Miranda Friedman. Thank you for being with us, Miranda.
Thank you very much.
So this case is about a dead guy. He cannot be prosecuted now. Why is it so important?
Okay, because we need to understand that we really have a statute of limitations that says that certain laws you can go at any stage and prosecute criminally. And then certain laws have a 20-year prescription. And when we look at rape and compelled rape, you can go 30 or 40 years after you've been raped and open a criminal case. If you've been sexually violated, you've got 20 years. But we need to understand about disclosure, and we need to understand about why a lot of people choose to disclose at a certain stage of their life, but only prosecute at another stage of their life. So if you're 6 or 7 and you've been abused, and often it's a family decision whether to prosecute at the time. You may be heading into December, heading into exams, etc. And when you're a teenager, you may even say then, look, I'm still healing. I'll prosecute a bit later in my life when I'm ready. And you get to 26 and they say, it's actually too late. You've missed the 20-year cut-off point. It's absurd. Why should there be a cut-off point? We need to understand the impact. You know, if we look at the impact of rape and we look at the impact of sexual offences, there's no empirical evidence to show, in fact, that the long-term ramifications are different at all. Take a classic case of, I'm driving my car, I get stopped at a roadblock, I get pulled out, and I get raped by a complete stranger. One case, we know the ramifications of that. I'm a child, I'm in my bedroom, could be a boy or girl, and somebody I know, could be a family friend, could be my family, come into my room, undress me, and molest me on a regular basis. I will tell you that that betrayal is exactly the same. The one is a betrayal by society, one is a betrayal by somebody you know well. In fact, we could even argue that the long-term ramifications of being betrayed so badly by someone you trust so intimately are just going to go on forever. So why not be able then to be able to bring that case criminally at any stage? So that's really what we're arguing here.
Was there any rationale? Why was the law designed like this? Anton Katz, the lawyer, saying it's just completely irrational.
Absolutely, he's saying it's absurd. And in fact, if one looks at the basis of our Constitution...
Have you ever seen a reason for this? That's what I'm asking.
No, you know what I think really happened here? We have been very progressive. And in 2007, we had the Sexual Offences Act that really changed the definition of rape. So what we saw is a much bigger and wider. So we didn't just look at penetration with either a male organ or with a stick or something like that. We went further. We were talking about oral sex. We really, but what didn't happen is it didn't come into the Criminal Procedure Act, and it didn't come into Section 18, and that's what we're trying to change.
So this is a loophole. Do you expect it to be overturned?
Yes, this is
You're
absolutely
going to win.
I think we're very close to being winning. I think Anton Katz has been brilliant, and I think the bravery. I think we must always commend people. We know that there are so many people out there right now who have been sexually violated, and they may decide when they're 35 or 45 to come forward, and they must be given the chance to actually criminally prosecute somebody. It's absolutely, it is part of our Constitution of human dignity that we can confront this when we are ready, that we are not pressurized by a law that says, I don't accept that it's taking you this long. Well, it does, people. It takes a very long time for children and for adults to get over sexual offences. We need to see it in a more holistic way in this country. And I think we need to understand that for anyone to come forward, a child, a woman, a man, a boy and girl, to say, this happened to me by somebody I love and care about, is extremely difficult. And if it means that they only feel that they can do this when they're old enough to accept what the consequences of going through our criminal procedure, which is approximately 2.5 to 3 years for criminal cases, and I will put my life on hold for that time, and I will have the support to do it. then we must allow it.
This is so important because it often comes up. People ask, why do women take so long to come out? Look at Bill Cosby, and that's heading to court now. And we saw one, and then more and more came out. So you're saying conditions have to be right. We need to be sympathetic to people who take decades before they come out and say, this happened to me, and there's the perpetrator.
No, absolutely, and I think we really need to look at it. We need to, if everyone sitting out there tonight just thinks about the fact that if something happened to me now, how many people would I like to know about what happened to me right now? Who would I be able to tell what happened? Would I need time to understand what lies ahead of me, about the decision I'm about to make? Because when we start talking about this, somebody is going to be affected. In fact, many people are going to. If this is someone's uncle or someone's grandfather, most families take sides. A lot choose to support the child, some choose to support the perpetrator. Families break up. Children have to take a lot of responsibility when they talk about sexual abuse in family or family friend circles. And you just mentioned, it's over 80%. It's well researched, it's well documented, that the accessibility, the prevalence, and the fact of the easy access without somebody saying, but why are you there? Well, because it's not unusual that they should be there with that child at that time.
Is there any problem? Do we have to be fair to the perpetrator? Because the alleged perpetrator, because people have been falsely accused, and it must be harder and harder to clear your name after decades. And we know that there has been problems with memory. People think they were abused, and then there's actually been a suggestion somewhere along the line.
Yes.
Memories aren't perfect. So how do you deal with that?
Yes. No, absolutely. But, you know, if we look at this case and we look at what they described, and I did sit in listening to all the testimonies, and I have to say that, you know, first of all, they were all at the places that they described. They were either on the farm where he would take them on his lap, on a helicopter ride, or on a horse and and walk with them into the stable, or in the bath of his cousin's home, which he often frequented and often went to the bathroom. So I think I think as a society, the more we do believe, and you know, we've worked with approximately 20,000 cases at both our kids' clinics, and I have to tell you that children always say what happened. There may be little discrepancies. I was sitting here, I was lying there, I thought it was night, I thought it was day. I thought I was wearing blue pants, but I was wearing red. The fact that something happened,
They know.
they know.
In finality, this comes after the media spotlight has been on abuse cases. I don't know if there's more or if we are just watching. You know, it started with Karabo Mokoena, and then people saying we shouldn't focus on that because she's this beautiful girl. And you just start hearing more and more. Is that a perception that things are just getting out of control, or is it real? And what do you want to see right now, if anything?
Okay, well, first of all, I think
People are feeling helpless.
No, absolutely. I think, first of all, we really need to recognize how many people have been violated in this last 2 weeks by people they know incredibly well. I think it is easier for people to latch onto well-known or beautiful people to make examples of. But if I can tell you something, that almost every day in our Gauteng courts, there's a child abuse case or there's a rape case of women. So we must understand that we don't have to pretend that our lives are okay, that, you know, our husbands or wife or our children don't behave badly at times, or that we're accepting behavior that we shouldn't, and that somebody's going to look worse about us, who it's happening to. We need to look at the people who are doing this, and we really need to start saying to them, are you okay with treating somebody like this? Are you okay with treating your partner like this? And, you know, I think we need to start engaging with people who do this and understand why they do this. What's happened in their lives that also makes them do these kind of things? We know it's cyclical, we know it's intergenerational, but we have to start engaging and stopping the cycle. This is the most important thing. You know, what you're asking me is, many of us who've been working for a long time in this work just say, I think the reporting, I think what we've seen since some of the bigger cases.
Do you welcome reporting?
Yes, we very much welcome reporting. And I think when people worry about statistics, they mustn't worry about statistics. In fact, the higher the statistics, the better, because we know then that people are talking about it and getting help. When they're not, and they're just suffering in silence, that's a real worry. But I think we need to just be really kind, people. I think we need to be kind to ourselves. We need to be kind to our children. And if this is happening, I think we need to do something about it and not worry what our neighbors think, that this perfect family life that we have is suddenly being shattered in the public. And society has a lot to blame for this, that we expect this from human beings, that we're not okay if somebody gets divorced twice and it becomes an issue, or they can't stay in this. Maybe the reason that they can't is because they lost trust many years ago when something happened to them as a young child. And let's be kind and compassionate, and let people take time. And I think this is the most important thing about the statute of limitations and what we're looking at today, and that is it takes a long time to admit to yourself what happened. It takes a long time to live with the fact that you are not to blame, and it takes time to tell a court about it. And let us give people that time. A lot of people choose not to go to court, but let us not give them the option
for them.
Absolutely.
And the truth will set you free. Thank you so much for your time this evening and for the work that you do. That was Miranda Friedman from Women and Men Against Child Abuse.